Hi guys, today we're gonna read chapter 2 of the Hardy Boys Secret Files 2, The Missing Mitt. Okay, let's get started. Chapter 2, Racing the Clock. Frank and Joe were in big trouble. Coach Quinn wouldn't let anyone on the team play if they were late for warm-up. Even their star player, Jason, had to sit out a game once. You have to respect our teammates. Your teammates, Coach Quinn had said, and being on time is a way of showing respect. Nothing would be worse than missing the biggest game of all. If they weren't at the park by 9 o'clock, there'd be no championship for them. They both put on their helmets. Joe was blue and Frank was green, just like their bikes. Then they hopped on and started pedaling as fast as they could. There's no way we'll make it, said Frank. It takes 15 minutes to get to the park by bike. I know. I've timed it before. I know a shortcut, yelled Joe. Follow me instead of turning left at the end of the street. Biking down to Main Street. Joe turned right. Frank was right behind him. Soon Joe turned again. A narrow alley between two big buildings. Whoa, said Frank. There were garbage cans in the alley, and it was too hard to keep from knocking into things. The skinny cat ran between the wheels of his bike. He almost fell over twice. The alleyway led out the north end of Protex Park. The baseball diamond was all the way on the other side. Normally, the boys would have biked all the way around the park on the street to get to the entrance at South Side. But today there was no time. This way, called Joe. The park was surrounded by thick bushes. Joe aimed his bike right at them. In a second, he was going to run straight into them. Frank was about to yell for him to stop when he saw Joe go right through the hedge. There was a small hidden gap. Frank followed Joe through the secret hole. He could feel the branches just brushing the sides of his face. That was close. Now they were inside the park, at the top of the hill called Big Tree Hill. Below them were dozens of trees. Frank saw oaks and maples and pines. Then he saw Joe flying between the trees. Bump, bump, bump. Joe's bike rattled and jumped as he rode over thick tree roots. He turned left and right. A few times he came within inches of crashing into the trees, but he never did. Frank was flying along behind him. He ducked to avoid a low-hanging branch. While he did, he checked his watch. We've only got 7 minutes, shouted Frank. We're almost there, Joe replied. Finally, they were out of the trees. Now they were in a big meadow, right by the baseball diamond. They were going to make it. Suddenly, something hit Frank in the back of the head. He lost control of his bike and fell into the field. Luckily, he was wearing his helmet, but he could have been seriously hurt. Ow, he yelled. Joe stopped on his bike and ran over. A big stick was on the ground next to Frank. Oh no, a voice came out of the woods. I'm so sorry. An old man with white hair walked into the meadow. He walked slowly with a cane. Beside him was a large yellow dog, which took one at Frank came running over. It licked the dog was about to jump on Frank. Lucky, stop. Down, girl. The dog ignored the man, ran right past Frank and Joe, and grabbed the stick in her mouth. Then she bounced away. We're playing fetch. You boys were riding so fast I didn't even see you before I threw the stick. Are you okay? The man sounded very upset. Frank stood up, brushing the dirt off his pants. I'm all right, he said. He tapped on the helmet with his knuckles and smiled. Oh, good, said the man. I'm Lomer Mac. Everyone just calls me Mr. Mac. And you've already met Lucky. She's a good dog, just big and playful. She loves to play fetch. She'll chase after anything. The boys introduced themselves and shook hands with Mr. Mac. Lucky dropped the stick at Joe's feet. She wagged her tail, waiting. Joe took the stick and threw it as far as he could. Lucky ran off after it. Catch, Mr. Mac, shouted Mr. Mac. Catch? Suddenly Frank remembered why they had been going so fast in the first place. He looked at his watch. It was 2 minutes to 9. The game. We've got to go. He got back on his bike and started to pedal. Goodbye, called Mr. Mac. Bye, said the boys. Ahead of them, they could hear the voices of their teammates. At the baseball field, they were so close, they had to make it. The boys burst off the meadow and raced over to the bleachers. They could see Jason Prime and the other bandits getting ready, but where was Coach Quinn? They were already too late. They jumped off their bikes and hurried to join their teammates. Hey Joe, hey Frank, Jason Prime gave them high fives. Frank opened his mouth to ask if they were late. Sweet! Coach Quinn's whistle blasted through the air. All the boys jumped to attention. Bayport bandits, line up. They made it in time. That's the end.